Hello and welcome to Wheel to Wheel Racing, proudly supported by racers. I'm Rex Buckingham, and joining me tonight is my fellow commentator, Footner. Good evening.
Good evening, Rexy.
And on visuals tonight, we have Herbal Green Tea. Good evening, Herbs.
Evening, Rex.
So here we are, gentlemen, the final round of Season 6 of the famous Circuit de la Sarthe. Made famous by the Le Mans 24 Hour. This 13.6 kilometre circuit is 38 turns and should provide quite challenging over the next 22 laps. Total race distance for tonight will be 299.7 kilometres. So these Div 2 boys are going to have their wits about them as they navigate this circuit. So yeah, really looking forward to this one tonight. Who do we think, gentlemen, is going to be our key players?
Well, we can't look past the pole sitter, Super Dragon. He set a blistering 3 minutes 53.9, with Intrinsic and Tombo very close behind him. So top three only separated by less than 3 tenths. So should mean for some great racing through the field, but we've also got some quick contenders back in the field as well. Likes of Jonesy, Vintage, Spence, Smooth Blanket, ZD. Everyone here is capable of taking out the win.
Yeah, look, I've definitely got my Team BMW shirt on tonight, so I'm really hoping that Team Captain, Vintage Racer, can have a really good race and take a podium. That would be a really nice end to the season. But yeah, look, there's definitely going to be some surprises in here tonight, the likes of Smooth Blanket and probably Jonesy. They've been two real surprise packages over the last couple of weeks. I've really noticed that they've come on since probably Brands Hatch. Smooth Blanket especially has really found some pace in that Lexus.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be interesting to see how Super Dragon goes with the Aston fuel usage. I think Tombo as well is in an Aston as well, so that'll be the two of the top three in the Aston, which they've been complaining about heavy fuel usage. And as we know in the Enduro, you can win the race in the pits by saving fuel. So it'll be interesting to see the strategies they opt for. 22 laps are not divisible by any friendly stint number, only by 2 and 11.
Yeah, so I think that it's all going to come down to probably pit strategy, that and avoiding penalties. I think if you can avoid a penalty and you can conserve a bit of fuel, then you'll definitely stand a chance to be on the podium at the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely agree. I think the key is as well, just don't get stuck in battles. It's a 90-minute race, 22 laps, and just use the person's slipstream in front of you for your benefit instead of trying to challenge for position. You know, save that fuel and jump them in the pits. Don't want to bring everyone back into it. As much as we'd love to see a tight battle.
Yeah, look, you know, these guys, to have any chance, you really need to stay in the slip around here. As we saw throughout qualifying this week, virtually everybody paired up and worked their way out around this circuit. If you're out there by yourself, the chances of you putting in a lightning time, it was very difficult indeed. So you found that most of the guys that are at the top of the standings for qualifying all had a slip buddy, basically.
Yeah, I personally attempted that with Ben. I was in the same lobby with him. We couldn't make it work as nice as we wanted to. But we are forming up for the race start. So you can see the order there. Super Dragon followed by Intrinsic, Tombo, Vintage Racer, Jonesy, Spence, Smooth Blanket, ZD, Pan Mac, Nightwalker, Ripdoc, and Con. We have a full lobby and we are shaping up for a brilliant race.
Yeah, look, ZD, he's one to probably watch out for tonight as well. He's come along great guns throughout this season.
Sorry, continue.
I was just going to say took out his first win, and I think he's gained some confidence from that. That Jag's really fast in a straight line, so You know, he'll be one of the guys that will actually be able to make some overtakes.
Yeah, everyone navigating the first chicane cleanly, but once we get onto that Mulsanne straight, ZD's really going to be able to stretch those legs of that Jag. It is a rocket ship in a straight line.
Yeah, definitely.
As they come through Tetra Rouge, we have Super Dragon leading Tombo, so Tombo jumping Intrinsic to get into second, really putting the pressure on Super Dragon early. They're trying to bridge a gap straight away to Vintage. Intrinsic drops down to fourth. And the first penalty has been dished out to Smooth Blanket. He's got himself a 1 second penalty, possibly running wide on Tetra Rouge on the start to the Mulsanne straight there. Not going to be too much of an issue with all the slipstream around him, but not what you want when the field is this compact.
No, it's probably the worst time to pick up a penalty is in that first lap. A second around here, especially at the start when you're in the slip.
We've had Jonesy pick up 2 seconds as well. Jonesy's picked up 2 seconds. Spence looks to try and go around the outside of him, but while that's happened, Tombo's overtaken Super Dragon for the lead. Super Dragon now tucks into Tombo's rear wing, gives him a little bit of a bump draft, so Super Dragon happy to work as a pair here. Tombo wanting to lead though, so Super Dragon's just going to say, okay, go, I'll follow you.
Look, that's smart there by Super Dragon. If these two can work together, they can actually put a bit of a gap on between Intrinsic and the rest of the field. So let's see if they work together over the next couple of laps.
What is going to be interesting for Super Dragon, though, is if anyone's driven this track, you do know your braking markers aren't exactly easy to spot when you are under the rear wing of someone else. Super Dragon into that braking zone right on the bumper of Tombo. Everyone's relatively clean, though.
Yeah, it's good to see as we saw them come into the into turn 17 at the end of the Michelin Straight. Super Dragon just gave Tombo a little bit of a hit, didn't unsettle him too much, and they've just continued to pull away from there.
Yeah, they've got 8.5 tenths, nearly 9 tenths now on Intrinsic, so that is out of the slip. The top two have broken the slip to Intrinsic, and Intrinsic's broken the slip to Vintage. So Intrinsic has no assistance for fuel saving or slipstream, neither does Vintage. Tombo and Super Dragon looking to get away early.
You would think that, who was it behind Vintage? So Spence and the rest of the field, they should be able to catch up to the back of Vintage with no real dramas. We see Spence is only half a second off finish now, so he's already in that slip. So Vintage will start to get a bit of a push along by Spence and the rest of the field, which should see him on the back of Intrinsic in no time.
And behind Spence we have Jonesy, who still has 1.9 seconds of penalty to burn with only a fraction of a lap left. He's going to have to find somewhere to burn that safely, possibly on the straight run up here before the first chicane.
Yeah, and look, Jonesy's picked up a 1.9 second penalty as well. So he's going to need to burn that.
There he goes. He's burning it now before pit entry. And down to 0. He's going to tuck back in behind Nightwalker in front of Ripdog. Not too bad there for Jonesy. He can get on with his race now. He doesn't have a penalty flashing ahead. ZD up to 6th position. I believe he started in 8th, so not a bad first lap for ZD. Tucked in Spencer's slip, so able to save some fuel. Save some tyre as well. Super Dragon down in 4th. Not sure what happened there. Super Dragon is no longer in 2nd following Tombo. He's dropped down to 4th. Lost 2.8 seconds.
I'm going to say he probably picked up a penalty. You would think that the most likely place he would have probably picked up a penalty through the Dunlop curves there.
Possibly. Did we catch any of that, Herbs?
No, we missed that.
Yeah, okay, so not too sure what happened with Super Dragon, but he's still in the mix. He's only 2.7 seconds off the lead. He is tucked into Vintage Race's slip, but Tombo now holds a 1.7 second lead on lap 2. Doesn't mean much in a race as long as this, but it's definitely the position you want to be in.
Yeah, look, with Super Dragon making an error and falling back. Or as we see Intrinsic, go straight through the chicane, so that's really hurt Intrinsic. So yeah, that may give Vintage and Super Dragon an opportunity to work together to catch back up to Tombo.
Yeah, that really has hurt Intrinsic. He's about to lose 2 more positions, maybe even a third if Panmac pulls out, and he does. Down to 7th for Intrinsic. No, Panmac slots back in. Smart racing there from Panmac.
If I was Vintage at this stage, I wouldn't mind letting Super Dragon pass me, and just because he's got that extra speed down the straight, so I'd try to get him to catch up, and I'd help him with the slip behind.
Well, there's 2 ways you can look at it with a straight this long. It is long enough that if you get some slip, you can pull out, and then someone gets enough slip to come back at you, or you can bump draft the entire way, which it looks like that's what Super Dragon's opting for. It looks like he's going to bump draft to increase both of their speed.
Yeah. And, it gives Super Dragon the opportunity to fuel save as well.
Correct. So even with that bump drafting, Tombo's extended his lead out to nearly 3 seconds.
Yeah, Tombo's not messing around at the moment. He is pushing quite hard. He's already gone through half a tank of fuel, so there's no short shifting going on with Tombo. I reckon he'll be doing a 4-lap stint for his first run. And just seeing if he can put a buffer between himself and the rest of the field.
Yeah, well, that's one way to go. You hope to hold the lap speed to offset the pit time for the extra fuel, or you slow your lap time down and save fuel to save it in the pits. It all balances out in the wash, and it just depends. And track position here is strong, so I think Tombo's pushing for the later. Also, he may feel more comfortable running at qualifying pace. I know me, for example, when I try to dial it back, I'm no longer in my comfort zone, and I start to make mistakes trying to drive at 9/10.
Yeah, it comes down to what you're comfortable with, and if going flat out for 90 minutes is how you need to do it, then that's what you should be doing. So
well, that's Tombo, how you spend the week practicing. You're practicing 10/10ths for a qualifying lap, so when it comes to race time, you don't want to alter those braking markers, and you add more things to think about, more things to get wrong. So sometimes it is better just to stick to what you know. In Tombo's case, it does look like he will be using more fuel than people around him, but 3.4 seconds is probably enough to offset that.
Yeah, look, if I was Vintage and Super Dragon and the other guys that are in this second lead pack or the first lead pack chasing Tombo, I wouldn't be too concerned if he's pulled out a bit of a lead. Tombo's going to probably need to take an extra lap of fuel than some of the other guys, so they'll make up some time in the pits, you would think. So they're on their 3rd lap now. They'll probably all start to pit lap 4. I can't see anyone here doing a 5-lap stint at the moment.
Fives are an option.
And look at their fuel.
5s are an option due to tyre wear being reasonably low because of how many flat-out sections there are on this track. I think some people might be able to make a 5 manage, especially if they're in the slip for the entire 5 laps. So I wouldn't be surprised, but I wouldn't bank on it.
Yeah, look, I have tried a bit of fuel saving throughout the race.
Super Dragon picks up a penalty, just going through Techerouge. He picks up a half-second penalty going onto the straight. He is tucked into Vintage's slip, so he may try and serve it bit by bit. Yes, he is. He's already served 2/10, and he's still got that slip. He does have another straight in between the 2 chicanes as well. But this is allowing Spence to catch up. Spence is now in the slipstream of Super Dragon.
Vintage make a move on Spence. So good move there by Ziti. That's great driving. I don't know if we can get a replay of that, but that's what Ziti needs to do.
Intrinsic picks up a 2-second penalty as well.
Oh, so unlucky there by Intrinsic. So it looks like Vintage and Super Dragon are happy just to work together at the moment. Super Dragon just finishing to burn that penalty.
Just on ZD's overtake here. Looks like he's got a bump draft from Spence to catch up on the straight. Just after he made that overtake as well. Back to the action.
And nice work, ZD.
So Tombo is increasing his lead. It's now out to 4.6 seconds. So Tombo is just running away with it at the moment. It doesn't matter how the guys behind him are working. They just can't seem to close that gap on Tombo at the moment. It's actually stretched out to 4.9, so 5 seconds now.
Yeah, but there is a fuel difference of approximately 20 to 30% there. So that's significant pit time.
It is. That's probably a lap of fuel right there. So that'll be about 3 seconds difference in the pits, you would imagine.
Yeah, Super Dragon nearly serving all of his penalty now. He's still kept third. Nice driving there to serve half a second and not lose a position.
And ZD's wasted absolutely no time getting onto the back of Super Dragon. He's brought half the field with him.
Yeah, Panmac up to fifth as well. Panmac starting behind ZD, so they've been moving through the pack together. I think they're both up 4 positions.
Yeah, look, Panmac, it'll be interesting to see how he goes. He's been fairly good over the seasons with his fuel and his tyre wear. Probably one thing that he's done a little bit too often is probably stayed out a lap longer than what he should. But here where tyre degradation isn't that much of a factor over the, say, 5 laps, he may be one to watch to do a 5-lapper.
We'll just have a look and see if Tombo goes in the pits. He is under a quarter of a tank. He does dive.
Yeah,
he's
dove in lap 3. So
yeah,
that's going to give Vintage the lead?
That will. I can't see Vintage pitting after 3 laps with his tyre and fuel condition. The same as Super Dragon. They're very similar. You can see the car's starting to get a bit unsettled now as that tyre wear does start to increase. But Vintage Racer will lead your pack around for lap 4, followed by Super Dragon. Interesting to see where Tombo is going to slot out. He's going to brim his tank. He's still stationary. This must be excruciating for Tombo.
So he's filling up completely, I think. No, he's done a 4-lap stint, I reckon. So he's short filled by one lap, I would say.
Oh, that'll be 3 laps for Tombo then. So he's now 18 seconds off the lead after being 5 seconds in front. So 23 seconds for not even a full tank of fuel. That's very significant. He does have fresh rubber. Everyone else will be struggling on the rubber now. So Tombo going to be able to close that 18-second gap up. And I dare say we expect to see Vintage, Super Dragon, ZD, Handmac, Spence, Intrinsic, Jonesy, Ripdoc, all in the pits this lap. They all have roughly a quarter of a tank. Not going to be able to make that 5th lap stint.
I'm looking at G-Man's fuel. He's probably got enough fuel to do an extra lap, but if he's got nobody to go with, is it worth doing?
Yeah, true. G-Man's starting last by the looks of it. Not setting a qualifying time, maybe?
Yeah, he chose to not qualify. He didn't believe that he had pace to qualify, so he just wanted to start from the back. So whether it was the right decision, I'm not too sure. But
for first place.
Oh, new lead change. ZD's right on the back there. Padmax actually dropped off that battle for a bit, but ZD's right in the mix here, challenging for that podium spot.
Yeah, look, if I was Vintage, I wouldn't be too upset about that. I'd be very happy to sit behind Super Dragon. An opportunity to save some fuel. And I just think there's less pressure leading the group around. If it was me, I'm happy to just... He's backed out of it. I know.
Oh, poor old Tombo. He's trying to make the undercut strategy work, and a penalty is not going to help him there. Not sure what happened to Smooth Blanket either, sitting down in 12th, 7 seconds behind Tombo, 25 seconds off the lead.
So Smooth Blanket picked up back and dropped off everybody's slip. So it just goes to show that if you're not in the slip early on, especially when you've got a train that's 3-4 cars long, you are really going to struggle for pace, especially along these long straights.
We'll just jump up with Super Dragon as he rounds the Porsche curve. So I think we're going to see Super Dragon, Vintage, ZD, Handmax, Spence, Intrinsic, Jonesy, Ripdoc, and possibly G-Man, but maybe not, all in the pits. So we'll see who takes on what fuel, see who jumps out and gets that lead, who makes time, who loses time.
So looking at Super Dragon, he's got the least amount of fuel. Probably ZD and Super Dragon are probably similar on
And
their fuel. So
intrinsic-
you'd expect Vintage to come out in front of these guys.
It's all very close though.
Very close
G-force
indeed.
at 15%. He holds the most.
So the whole field's in the pits basically at the moment.
Yeah, well,
Minus Tombo. So Tombo's coming over the start-finish line now. So let's see where he comes out.
I dare say Tombo will increase his gap he had before, be over 5 seconds.
Yeah,
Just
so
that lap on fresh rubber, he should make up seconds there, as well as he's only fueling for 3 laps instead of 4, so he saves time there. Yeah, so he's got 8 seconds over Pan Mac now, and Pan Mac comes out the pits first.
Which probably should have been about 10 because he had a 2-second penalty to burn.
Yeah, correct. So Super Dragon and Vintage still nose to tail, and ZD as well. So those 3 guys run identical strategies, identical fuel usage at the moment. Spence has made up a bit of time though.
And Pan Mac's leaped both Super Dragon and Vintage. So Pan Mac has actually got a 1.1 second lead over Super Dragon.
Yeah, Pan Mac's only fueled for 3 laps though. Super Dragon, Vintage, ZD, Spence, everyone behind filled their tank, and Pan Mac's running on 75%. So maybe Pan Mac not liking the feel of that McLaren after 4 laps, and he's dropping it back to 3-lap stints.
So Vintage just out of slip range at the moment here on Super Dragon. I think the slip kicks in at about 7.5, doesn't it? Roughly?
Roughly, yeah. That was interesting, because going under the bridge at the start of the lap, Super Dragon and Vintage were glued together. The Super Dragon also nailing that chicane and further increasing that gap to Vintage. Vintage now under pressure from ZD, who's bringing Spence in tow.
So ZD just going around Vintage here, getting help there from Spence. So that will help Vintage out because he'd lost a slip from Super Dragon. So he's now going to tuck in behind Spence and hopefully can stay on the train with
I love
ZD
watching
and Spence.
these cars. I love watching these cars go nose to tail around this track.
Yeah, look, I really enjoyed it too. Like, if it wasn't for Shans in my qualifying session, there's no way I would have qualified as fast as what I did. I actually out-qualified Shans just because he was so good at leading me around. Yeah, big thanks to Shans. But, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed just sitting right up the bumper and just getting that slip around this track. So Super Dragon's made light work of Pan Mac there and has already pulled out a half-second lead over him.
Yeah, I intentionally didn't do a lot of slip practice just because I do find myself in a lower lobby this week. So I was trying to run my stints with no slip for practice, but I do know what you mean. Sitting under someone just gives you a bit of extra focus, I guess.
Yeah, so because you've got Tank Master in your lobby, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'd expect you and Tank to run away with it. It's just a question of who's going to win out of the two of you.
Well, we are 4 seconds faster than the 3rd place, so the numbers do check out, but I'm happy for an interesting race, and with a lot of slip playing a big part, I'm not sure that those qualifying times really are going to mean a hell of a lot, but only time will tell.
Yeah, look, qualifying, it gives you nice track position at the start, but, you know, a race like this, 90 minutes long, 22 laps around here, it's quite doable to come from the back to take out a win.
Oh, Super Dragon using all of the track up to the limit of getting a penalty. He's really pushing to bridge that gap to Pan Mac. He's nearly got Pan Mac out of the slip. I think he's just done enough through that chicane. Yes, Pan Mac's dropped out of the slip now.
So ZD's looking real racy at the moment. So I would expect by the end of this lap that ZD will drag Spence, Vintage and Intrinsic onto the back of Pan Mac here.
ZD probably the only Muslim in wheel-to-wheel, as his bio dictates. That may be wrong.
That's what he's saying, and I've gone through everybody else. There's no one else announcing it, so he is. But he's the second Navy guy in wheel to wheel, both him and Squidley.
Yes. Squidley, without giving too much away, Squidley will make an appearance in the stream tonight at some point as well. So keep your eyes peeled for Squidley.
Nice, look forward to that.
But we'll get to that when we get there. So Tombo's increased his lead out to 11.5 seconds now. Still
And
setting
just gone
purple
purple.
sectors. He's absolutely flying.
Yeah, well, he's set the fastest lap at the moment with a 3:56.6. So, you know, that is a cracking pace round here in race settings.
That is. I mean, Tombo does believe to be the fastest cripple in Australia. And he's proven that to us right now. He actually races with a controller and buttons, gear shifting buttons under his feet. So, fantastic pace there from Tombo with that setup. I could not find that much speed on a controller, that's for sure.
Yeah, Tombo is lightning quick on a controller. He's super clean racer. Yeah, I really enjoy Tombo. And he, looking at Tombo's bio, he says that he's in an open relationship with G-Man. So I don't know if G-Man knows this, but you know, I hope everything works out well. I hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Tombo's only human.
I get it though. It's those golden locks of G-Man that does it for him.
Yeah, and no one can turn that down, regardless of gender.
No, we've all seen G-Man in his denim shorts.
So just jumping back to ZD in fourth there, he's purple by 5/10 and has Pan Max slip down the back straight here. ZD is on a mission as he pulls out to make the move on Pan Mac. He's trying to pick up a little bit of drag and slip. 8/10 back, I think he's just too far to get it, but he will get the move done on Pan Mac on the straight. He will not need to go side by side into the corner. ZD is properly moving in that Jag at the moment.
Oh, Pan-Mac almost unsettled ZD right then.
Yeah.
That could have been really nasty. So now Spence is behind Pan-Mac trying to find a way by. He just does. Pan-Mac's run a little bit wide there, which has opened the door for Spence and maybe Intrinsic and Vintage to get past as well. So Vintage has lost a couple of places. I don't know what's happened there.
Vintage got done over when ZD and Spence come past.
Oh, okay.
He dropped down to 6th there, and Intrinsic's managed to get past him too.
So ZD wasting no time getting away from the rest of that field there. So he's opened up a 1.3 second gap over Spence now after getting past Pan-Mac. And has got Super Dragon in his side.
Curves. See if he still goes purple. Tombo pulls in the pits. The Tombo, another 3 lap stint. Super Dragon will round the start-finish straight to take the lead, followed by ZD 1.3 seconds back. We'll just ride on with ZD, see if he goes purple here. Not quite. Misses out by 3/10, but that's still great pace from ZD.
Yeah, look, if he didn't have to worry about the overtake there on Pan-Mac, he might have got it.
Yeah, he lost about 6/10 in the final 2 sectors, so maybe just putting a couple of wheels wide through the Porsche curves, maybe being a bit cautious through the chicanes, trying to not pick up a penalty. I mean, the fastest lap, there's 22 laps to try and hit it. You don't have to get it. Spence finds himself with a penalty. Spence has picked up a 1 second penalty down in 3rd there.
It's unlucky.
He does
I dare say he picked it up through the chicane, that first chicane there.
Yeah, I dare say he would have.
So Tombo, I would say that he'll go to four lap strategy from here on. He's done 2 3s, so might see him
Tombo,
doing 4s from here on out.
No, he's only fueled up for 3 again.
Okay, so he wants to do 3 lap stints.
Yeah, I think he might be doing 3s until lap 18, and then he'll do a 4, or maybe even 2 2s, just depending on his position in the race.
Oh.
Not sure what's happened to Nightwalker as well, but he finds himself 40 seconds off the lead after only one pit stop.
Yeah, he must have either had an incident or picked up a penalty.
Yeah,
But
40 seconds is a lot of time for an incident, though. It must have been something large.
he will be having a lonely old race there.
Indeed.
Nightwalker's had a bit of an up and down season this year, or this season. I've found him to be really racy and a great competitor over the last couple of seasons that I've raced with him. But he's just struggled a bit in that NSX this season.
Yeah, I can't say the NSX is known to be a great car. Nightwalker known to be very clean driver and very fast though, so I'm sure he's getting the most out of it as he can. I think at tracks like this, it'll definitely suffer with top line speed. He's only hitting 268, just bridges 270 into the chicane, whereas I know in the Lambo I'm getting 284. The 12 kilometre an hour deficit in that NSX. I dare say ZD in the Jag's probably going higher than that as well, because that car's a rocket ship. Oh, up the front, Super Dragon with a penalty.
Yeah, 1.3 second penalty, so this is going to bring ZD, or give ZD the lead, you would think.
Yeah, you would think. There's not too much of the track left to serve this penalty. He tries to a bit in the braking zone, it does nothing for him. Super Dragon going to be very frustrated with that. He pulls off the racing line. Intrinsic serving his with Super Dragon there. Super Dragon slots back into third behind Panmac. And ZD, starting from 8th position in the race, now leads your race around Circuit de la Sarre.
Nice, go ZD. It'd be nice to see him win. If I can't have Vintage win tonight, then I'd be very happy if ZD took it out. He's an honorary member of Team BMW, even though he's in a Jag. He's done plenty of practice with us throughout the season. He's a great competitor and always happy to jump in a lobby with you, and loves his Corona Cup racing. And ZD at the moment, he's on his new wheel too. He's on his new Fanatec CSL Elite.
Oh yeah, borrowed by Adam.
After skitzing out and damaging his own wheel through frustration around this track. So
it happens. It happens.
So if he wins this tonight, he may go out and buy himself a CSL Elite for Christmas.
I think he's allowed to treat himself to that after the performance he's showing today. That being said, it's a long race. We have 15 laps remaining.
Yeah, it's a very long race. Look, I've had a message from another fellow commentator, Dale Teeks. He's just saying that Tombo is not using a manual tonight because he can't fuel save with it, so he's on auto tonight.
Oh, Tombo's on auto, okay.
Yeah. So that's even, a more outstanding that he's doing these sorts of times with an automatic shifter on controller.
And he's showing great pace with that. Where's Tombo sitting now? He's in 8th. 7 seconds off Jonesy, so he's got clear track. That's going to help him use this undercut strategy. He's not going to get held up in traffic. As everyone in front of him is probably doing the pits this lap. Everyone's less than a quarter tank of fuel, pretty much.
So ZD wasting no time. He's almost got a 2-second lead over the rest of the field here. So ZD is pushing hard.
Looks like Super Dragon and Panmac have been dicing a little bit. The Super Dragon did drop down to 3rd. He's now 2nd. Vintage has found his way back up to 4th.
So Panmac not managing to tuck in behind Panmac there.
Yeah. And Panmac doing the same to Super Dragon. Even with that bit of shuffling, they're finding a bit of time on ZD from 1.7 to 1.6.
Yeah, look, these guys need to work together a little bit so that they don't lose too much time on ZD. If they can all work together in the slip, they should all find themselves in the back of ZD. Because we know that the Jag is fast, but not as fast as 4 cars in the slipstream.
Oh, Panmac goes sideways.
And he's taken out Spence as well.
And Spence, we might cue that up for a replay. We missed
Vintage
that.
made it through, but Spence got taken out.
Yeah, let's jump to replay, boys.
That's really unfortunate.
I'm board with Panmac coming down the straight. And he's hit the back of Super Dragon and gone onto the sand. Yeah, it looks
So
like he might
Super
have broken
Dragon
a bit
getting out
late
of that
there.
very lightly then.
Yeah, so that incident has given put a 3-second buffer for Super Dragon between Super Dragon and Vintage Racer. So that's really unlucky for the likes of Spence, Vintage, and Intrinsic. But they just need to settle back into a rhythm and try to work together to catch up to these guys. But you definitely, ZD and Super Dragon, or the whole field, will pit this lap. I did notice that G-Man pitted last lap.
G-Man
So-
going for a bit of an undercut strategy now then.
Yeah, we'll see what he does. He's 41 seconds off the lead, but Nightwalker is may have somebody to race with at the moment. He's only 1.6 seconds behind G-Man, so if he can get onto the back of G-Man's slip, maybe they could work together to sort of try to salvage a bit of this race.
Yeah, it would be good to see some
As
battles
we see,
shaping
Smooth
up.
Blanket has run at
just
the end of the
catch on
straight.
that.
He's gone off into the sand there, so that is unfortunate for Smooth Blanket. He's not having the best of races. I may have
that
put the
incident-
commentator's curse on him.
The incident earlier in the lap has pushed some cars into Tombo's grip as well. So Tombo now 3 seconds behind Panmac. Panmac will pit though, but Tombo's managing to claw time back, and he's only 11 seconds down on ZD. ZD's going to be pitting for over 20 seconds. So it looks like Tombo's still increasing that lead. Until he has to do that extra pit stop, we're not really going to know the effect of everything. It's going to be interesting to see how it all shapes up.
So everybody's filing into the pits at the moment. We've got Riptop coming in now. Smooth Blanket, let's see what he does. Where's Tombo? Yeah, so Tombo's out in front now. So let's see how much of a lead he's got. And who comes out first?
ZD comes out first, as
So
expected, with Super Dragon. And Tombo has a 17-second lead.
So Tombo's just flying at the moment.
Yeah, I think Tombo's going to make up enough time to do that extra pit stop and still hold a lead. 9 laps in is 17 seconds. If he can do that again, that's 34 seconds when it's lap 18. That's an unreal amount of time.
So
and
just
he's got no one
showing
to battle with.
the different strategies at the moment. So Tombo just driving the balls off the car, revving it out, doing 3-lap stints, pushing hard, doing 3:56 second laps. I mean, you look at his lap times, every lap he's done has pretty much been a 3:56. He's showing a 3:55 there, but for some reason it's not recorded.
That'll be an out lap.
Oh, it must be.
Or an in lap, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a pit one though.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, he's been really consistent, and he's focused and flying at the moment.
So the battle for third heating up now. See how Super Dragon found 7/10 between that pit stop and the Mulsanne straight. Now only a second behind ZD. 3/10 to go until he gets in slipstream. Vintage recovering well from that earlier incident. Getting a bit of assistance there from Intrinsic in the form of a bump draft. So they're now only 2.6 back from Super Dragon. Definitely not out of this race yet. Anyone in this battle pack could win.
Yeah, this race isn't over by a long shot. ZD, Super Dragon, even the likes of Vintage, Intrinsic, Spence and Jonesy. You know, if any of these front runners make a mistake, these guys are right back in it. So they've just got to try not to battle too hard and take each other out.
I just saw ZD has the stream open and is typing messages during his pit stop. So he's relatively cool, calm and collected.
Of course he is.
That's the
all
way
that
you
naval
need to
training. So come on, ZD, focus, mate. I don't want to see you come off the track because you've been sending us a text message.
I think actually you probably could do it on the straights. I think I was doing that. Oh, actually, I wasn't in the end. The straight's probably long enough that you can type a brief message, but I would not recommend it.
No, I certainly couldn't do it. I can't multitask. I can barely drink my beer and commentate.
I can definitely help with the beer drinking. Just maybe not tonight.
So Ziti pushing hard, Super Dragon doing his best to catch up to him. The only thing is Super Dragon going to use up too much fuel trying to catch Ziti. Then Intrinsic's opened up a little bit of a gap over Vintage with Spence all over the back of Vintage Racer at the moment.
Yeah, only separated by 3/10 as they come through the Porsche curves. Jonesy following behind, carrying another penalty. Jonesy just getting penalty after penalty, slowly but surely getting himself out of this race. Combo pits for his third stint.
The Porsche curves are probably the trickiest part of this racetrack. It's high speed. It's easy to pick up a half a second penalty on the exit.
I think the worst
certainly an area of the track I've struggled with.
The worst one for me is definitely the onto the big straight, Tete Rouge. It's definitely the hardest corner for me to get right, at least at speed. That was where I was worried I was going to throw my qualifying away. Super Dragon now all over the back of Ziti, closing up that 1 second gap in the last sector there. And Intrinsic closing up further as well, only 1.4 seconds back now.
So Intrinsic is found some nice consistent pace around here. The Supra is not the fastest car on a straight line, but it's quite nice through the corners.
Yeah, it's very balanced. And I guess you could call it provisional race leader, Tombo, comes out in 6th with 3 seconds of fresh air in front of him. So this strategy is working brilliantly for Tombo at the moment. He's going to be able to find the back of Spence, I reckon, before the end of this stint. He's got 2 laps until the top 5 pit again, and he'll also be pitting on that same lap.
Yeah, look, he's got Jonesy right behind him. If I was Jonesy, I'd be sitting right behind Tombo. Although Tombo doesn't care. He's like, if you want to get past, get past. I'll take your slip.
Yeah, I think Jonesy's on older tyres by a lap, so it's probably better to stay in Tombo's slip. Plus, we know Tombo's fast. He's got his name next to the fastest lap board as evidence. So 7 seconds off the lead as Super Dragon's taking the lead now from Ziti.
Yeah, so Super Dragon's been pushing hard. He's really focused this stint. He's done well to catch up to Ziti. He was a second off him when he came out of the pits. So that's good driving by Super Dragon.
And setting purple sectors.
He's probably used a fraction more fuel than what Ziti has, but yeah, look, he's looking really racy at the moment.
Indeed.
So Ziti will probably just try to stay with him. I don't see the point in trying to make an overtake here.
Intrinsic also managing to keep that gap steady. Oh, this race is going to shape up to be so exciting. Tombo's only 6 seconds off the lead now. It was 7.5. So Tombo absolutely moving, not waiting around.
He's going to have a massive lead.
Yeah, and he's bringing Jonesy with him. So he's going to pit at the same time as the top 5 here. They're all going to go in together. Everyone's going to fuel for 4 laps except Tombo is going to fuel for 3. I cannot wait to see where they step out after 12 laps.
Yeah, Tombo's looking really fast here, and if he can get a little bit of help from Jonesy with a bit of bump slipstream, they'll find themselves on the back of Spence in no time.
Dale's made a point about Tombo making up 2 stops. That's if he does 7. If he does a 4-lap stint from 18, it'll be 6 stops. If he does 2 2s, then it'll be 7 stops. So I think only Tombo's knows the answer to that at the moment, and he might be making his decision based on his race position at lap 18. Obviously, he will need to fuel less for 2-lap stints, but the overall time spent in the pits will be longer than the 1 stop.
And welcome to all our viewers watching tonight over on YouTube and on Twitch. Don't forget to hit that like button, and if you enjoyed tonight's racing, you can subscribe as well. And this is the end of Season 6, but Season 7 will be starting up in the new year, I believe. So if you're interested in participating in Wheel to Wheel, head to our Facebook page and look for Wheel to Wheel Racing League and click the sign up button.
Indeed, there's a great bunch of lads in here. Everyone's always happy to help out, and there's always a lobby running. We nearly hit 7 lobbies for race weekend this week, which is unreal growth for the league. So feel free to jump in and be a part of it.
And a big shout out to our sponsor, Racers. They've been fantastic support throughout Season 6, so hoping that we continue with them into Season 7. And yeah, thank you very much, Racers. We've really appreciated all the support you've given us throughout this season.
Yeah, big thanks to Racers World. But back to the racing now. Super Dragon's opened 1 second as he's going to pick up a penalty, I think. I think he may have just been slightly wide there. Yes, he does get a penalty. Just opens up a second and gets a penalty as Intrinsic finds the back of Zedi as well.
Intrinsic all over the back of Zedi at the moment. So
Yeah,
Intrinsic is absolutely flying. He's found himself a groove and he's just killing it at the moment. So he hasn't got the pace to probably make an overtake move on the Jag. So he can just sit behind him and save his fuel, save his tyres, and he might be able to make
back
some
there,
distance
Spencer's
that way.
off. Spencer's off at the chicane.
Oh, unlucky. I don't know if he's done it himself. Can we get a replay on that?
It looked like he braked with a wheel on the grass and he just speared it into the sand backwards.
So easy to do to make a mistake through the chicane there.
And Tombo losing a hell of a lot of time somewhere.
Yeah,
So
Jonesy's got in
Spencer's
front of
given
Tombo.
Vintage a bump draft, but then followed him too closely into the chicane and he's gone off.
That's the risk of slipstreaming with people, you know. It's so easy to miss your brake marker and then shoot off into the sand.
Yeah, Spencer's doing great there. But Tombo as well. I'm not sure what happened to Tombo. He's now 9 seconds off the lead after serving a penalty, but just before that he was 8 seconds off as well. So not managing to do as well with that undercut strategy as he would have liked.
Yeah, he was killing it earlier, so Tombo with a bit of work to do now.
Indeed.
Super Dragon with a 1.2 second lead over Zedi and Intrinsic, but he also has a second to burn, or 900ths of a second.
I think the best place to burn your penalties is at the end of this fast section. You've got the right into the left, in between that 90 left and 90 right is where I found the best penalty burning place to be.
Yeah, I think so too, because it's probably the slowest section of the track, so you're actually not losing too much ground.
Yeah, we did see him serve his
here.
last penalty there, so I dare say he will probably do it again. No, I think he's trying to bridge a bigger gap. I don't think he was happy with the size of that gap. He's now extending it out, 1.7, soon to be 1.8, maybe 1.9 before the Porsche curve. So Super Dragon is moving, he's got the speed. But he's using a lot more fuel.
A lot more fuel. He's probably used up a lap more, so here we go, he's burning it off now.
As Intrinsic pulls out for the move,
0.7.
oh, there's contact. Intrinsic and Zedi trying to go side by side.
Probably not where you want to be making a move.
No, through the fast flowy sections like that, you really want to be single file. It's only one line.
Intrinsic doesn't have the straight line speed to sustain a lead over Zedi. What he really needs to do is just sit behind him and then see where he's at, you know, with a lap or two to go. You know, that's with you know, the likes of the Supra, the Beamer, the WRX. You know, these cars, as soon as you pull out of the slipstream, you can't overtake. As we see Intrinsic get a good run through the chicane. And if he gets the move done here, we're just going to see Zedi take it back down the Miss-Lane straight.
And Tombo dives into the pits after only 2 laps.
So he's going to do 7 by the look of it.
So he's doing a 2 here. So yeah, he will be doing 7 lap stints, 7 pit stops. That's going to be very hard for him to make up that time. But if anyone's going to do it, Tombo's going to do it.
So Super Dragon, even though he had a second penalty to burn, he's still got a 1.2 lead over Intrinsic and then Zedi.
Yeah, I think Intrinsic going side by side up to that chicane probably would have helped Super Dragon keep that lead. But now Intrinsic's pushing hard. He's taking time out of Super Dragon and increasing time on ZD. So he's
ZD's going to swallow him up here. He's going to come in hard. So let's see if he can get it done before the chicane.
Yeah, ZD's got that double slip.
And he's not going to be able to get it done before the chicane, I don't think.
Tricky part going into the chicanes when you're in all that slipstream.
So if we just want to jump on board with CD at the moment, Herbals, and just see him tuck in behind Intrinsic and see if he makes a move along one of these straight sections. So Intrinsic actually pulling away. So must be in Super Dragon's slip.
He was before. I think he still might be, or maybe not anymore. Getting a little bit of a worse run out of there. He's now 9/10 back.
Yeah, he's just lost a fraction of time, but he should be able to pick it up.
Now, I'm not sure on the top speed differences between the Supra and the Aston.
Another really tricky section of the track is the Musame corner here. That slight, would you call it a hairpin? Holy shit, I thought ZD was going to run through Intrinsic there, but he gets it done, but Intrinsic comes straight back at him. So, look, brave move there by ZD, good driving, but Intrinsic takes it straight off him.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about managing your braking markers while you're in the slip.
So Intrinsic needs to be careful here. He doesn't want to find himself in the dirty section as we see ZD just lift and give Intrinsic that corner back. Very fast corner.
They don't want to fight too much either because it's going to allow Super Dragon to get away.
Yeah, although, Indianapolis corner is one of the fastest corners, or probably the fastest corner in the circuit.
Yeah, Super Dragon running on the fumes of an oily rag at the moment. ZD holding the most fuel out of the top three. Everyone will be due in this lap, so ZD looking in a prime position to jump over the other two in the pits. And Vintage is actually getting himself back in this race. Only 3.5 seconds off the lead and 2 off ZD. Nice driving there from Vintage. Yeah,
Vintage has pushed hard this stint. You can tell by the amount of fuel he's got left. But that's great driving by Vintage. Come on, mate. Want to see you do really well. You've been a great captain throughout this season. And
also
Team Vintage is actually leading leading all of season 6. So I think we've wrapped it up. But with a good showing here tonight, they've definitely wrapped it up.
Yeah, Vintage also a great addition to the commentary team. He's helped develop commentary for W2W into what it is today with his vast experience of MotoGP and F1 supercars, broadcasts and stuff. So big thanks there to Vintage. And,
Vintage has been fantastic. He's done a bit of stewarding throughout the season. As we all know, he's the golden tonsils of the Premier Division commentary team. And look, he's been doing a great job throughout the season, and he's always happy and happy to chip in. So, well done to Vintage. So he's
ZD
come out
commenting again in the chat. Good fuel. But he's only 4th. What happened there? I'm not sure how he didn't jump them.
Look, they're all bunched up now. So Intrinsic, Tombo, Super Dragon, ZD, they're all going to be nose to tail.
Wow, Tombo's in the mix here.
So, Tombo was only half a tank of fuel.
So Tombo
do another 2-stop, you'd think. So, Intrinsic, Super Dragon, ZD, Vintage, they've all filled up completely. So, Vintage a little bit unlucky there with the 4 of these boys.
We have to start thinking about what the top... So all these guys in the top 5 besides Tombo are going to do here, because obviously they're doing 4-lap stints and 22 is not divisible by 4. So do they go 4 and then a 2 at the end, or do they start breaking it up into 3s from lap 16? It's going to be interesting to see who goes what way and how that's going to work out time-wise.
Yeah, look, I have absolutely no idea how they're going to do it. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I think I'll take a leaf out of one of these boys' books tonight, the next week. See
Yeah,
what
credit
works
to
the
these boys
best.
for running first.
Yes, definitely. So Intrinsic just leading them along at the moment. It looks like they're not trying to. Well, it's just the sound of the Super. It just sounds like he's just cruising, having a Sunday drive.
I think they're still only a 4-cylinder, aren't they, or a 6? Sorry, it's
Yeah,
6.
I think it's a 6-cylinder.
There's everything else. The Aston Martin will be a V12, I believe, in the GT3s. V10,
Yeah,
sorry.
I think so. V10.
I don't know what would be in the Jag, but it's quick.
It's a V8, I think.
It is a quick car.
Yeah, look, the
Oh,
Jag.
Ziti is deep. He touches
Ziti's just
Tombo.
giving him Tombo a little bit of a nudge.
Not enough to push him off the track, but everyone's going to be getting a bit nervous now.
Yeah, now's not the time that you want to pick up a penalty or take anybody out. 13 laps into a 22-lap race.
Yeah, we're well over halfway now, and the top 4 are separated by a second, less than a second. This is unreal racing.
Which is what we wanted to see. Nice close racing over the course of this race. So Super Dragon's made the move on Intrinsic. So Intrinsic now in second place. This is the section of the track where Intrinsic's shown that he's had plenty of speed. Tombo looking quite comfortable behind Intrinsic in third, and Ziti happy to be in fourth at the moment. Ziti, if you're not, you can let us know in your next pit stop.
Ziti got a bit of information from everyone then. He was able to save fuel while everyone else wasn't, so I think he's going to be happy to sit back, and he knows what to do at his next pit stop now.
Yeah, I mean, this is the key. This is the time in the race where fuel saving's really going to start to come into play. If you can save a lap and a half of fuel, you're going to jump these guys, and you know, with that pace of the Jag, he can comfortably run by himself and not have to worry about being chased down too much.
Exactly. I just can't believe how close the racing is right now. I'm enjoying this thoroughly. Everyone is just nose to tail. Every car on track looks fantastic as well. Everyone's driving flawlessly at the moment. It's amazing to watch.
So if you were Super Dragon, would you be happy to be leading at the moment, or would you prefer to be sitting behind someone and, you know, putting pressure on them and saving fuel?
I'd be saving fuel. I wouldn't be pushing to break the gap, because that's when you can open yourself up to overusing your fuel. I'd be fuel saving and hoping people behind me are happy to work with me rather than against me, because it's ultimately better for everyone to work together, at least for the first 75% of the race. Get enough of a gap, get enough of fuel saving happening that you can really push at the end and just make up time on everyone else.
So Ziti's picked up a half-second penalty as well as Vintage, which they picked up through that first chicane. It's so easy to do. So Ziti, he really needs to try to get onto the back of these guys before he burns it. But at this stage, I don't think he's going to have an opportunity to do so with the 3 of them in slip. So he's burning it now.
Yeah, with the 3 so close together as well, you'd think they probably couldn't take the chicane as far. So Vintage has found himself with a penalty, and Ziti runs wide to that chicane, hopefully pulling it back on the track to not get a penalty. But he does lose a massive chunk of time now.
Yeah, Vintage picked up a penalty at exactly the same spot that Ziti did.
So Tombo's fastest
So
lap
Tombo's
still
making a move
stands.
here on Intrinsic. As we see him go up on the inside, is Intrinsic going to be able to hold him through the corner? He can. But he's just letting Intrinsic know that he's there and that he wants to pass. So Tombo goes
driving.
purple.
After going side by side through the chicane, that is amazing pace.
So Super Dragon's just moved over for Tombo.
Yeah, Aston
Intrinsic
Martin
exposed.
together.
So there we go, 2 Astons working together. Thank you very much, says Tombo.
And it's effective. Gets the move past, gets past before the braking zone. Still
So
purple by 7 tenths. 7/10 purple on 3-lap-old tyres. Tombo is just not hanging around at the moment. He pulls out to get the move on Super Dragon. Super Dragon's going to let it happen because he knows he's on the fuel saving and Tombo's not, so there's no point fighting that.
And it looks like Tombo's gonna pit this lap. So as they come through Indianapolis corner curve, Intrinsic had a bit of a look there on Super Dragon, but decided against it. This is another real tricky corner. This one here. Oh, as we see Tombo, he's just stepped it out just to prove my point. So thank you very much, Tombo.
Tombo doing dirt turbos.
It's very easy to get it loose there.
Yes.
Slowest corner on the track.
Yeah, and you just touch that curve. A lot of cars will unsettle with how aggressive these curves are.
And because it is so slow and this track is so... as we see Super Dragon just gave Tombo a bit of a whack there, so completely incidental, but that almost sent Tombo flying. So Super Dragon with slightly better tyres than Tombo and really wants to get past here. So as we see Tombo, he's going to peel off into the pits here, which will give Super Dragon the lead with Intrinsic in second. So we'll see Tombo peel off as he does, and Super Dragon's going to go past.
I'm not sure what Tombo's going to do in terms of strategy here. So he probably does another 3-3-2, I guess he has to.
Yeah.
Or he could do 2 4s from now. No, sorry, there's 9 laps left.
No, he wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. It's going to have to be 3-3-3 then. So.
Yeah, look, Tombo's pit strategy is probably going to let him down at the end of the day. He's shown plenty of pace and probably had more pace than everybody else, but I think doing those additional pit stops that he's doing, I think he may find himself just off the podium maybe. But it also depends on what these guys do. If these front runners pick up a 2-second penalty, then anything's possible.
So the battle for the lead still raging on. Intrinsic firmly in the slip, pulling out to make the move done. Gets his nose in front and he's gonna get the move done before the braking zone. So Intrinsic race leader now.
Look, I don't think Super Dragon's unhappy about that. He looks like he's very happy just to sit behind Intrinsic here.
Super Dragon definitely a smart racer as well. He's going to know the best thing to do. He doesn't want to get stuck battling because he knows it's not fast outright.
So Vintage having a bit of a lonely race here in 4th position now with a almost 4 second gap between Zedi and then a 3 second gap to Jonesy behind him.
Oh, Intrinsic's off. He missed his braking marker. He's gone straight on at the chicane.
So unlucky. Unlucky. He was looking good.
I hope that wasn't a touch from Super Dragon in the braking zone. I feel if it was, he would have redressed. I think.
Any chance for a replay?
Yeah, let's jump into a replay. On board with Intrinsic. Let's jump into...
Let's have a look at it from Super Dragon's point of view, because he was behind him.
Alright. Yep, so yeah, it looks like Super Dragon might have given a bit of a touch. Just a tiny touch, but it was enough. Yeah.
Wow.
Unlucky, so no redress there by Super Dragon.
Could have been a lag spike or a glitch or something. Nothing may have happened on Super Dragon's screen, so we won't speculate too far on that.
No, and look, Super Dragon, he's a clean racer. Any touch that happened, it would have been incidental, and as you said, it could have just been a lag spike.
Yeah, I've just watched the delayed replay on the stream here, and I think Intrinsic missed braking. May have been contacted earlier, but it looked like his brake lights didn't come on for another fair while.
But that's really helped Zedi out, so he's now found a slip buddy in Intrinsic.
Indeed.
And maybe they can work together to get back on to Super Dragon.
Yeah, everyone's still with 2 pit stops to go, and Tombo's down 26 seconds off the lead.
So Jonesy's made an error somewhere because he's been overtaken by Spence and is now 5 seconds behind Vintage. So Jonesy's either picked up a penalty and burnt it or made a mistake somewhere, because Spence was a good 2 to 3 seconds behind Jonesy. So I thought Intrinsic was running into the pits then. Oh, as we see ZD, and he's picked up a half-second penalty. Unlucky ZD.
Oh, and
okay, so that's bringing Vintage back into it now. So Vintage was a good run out of the chicane. Might be able to make some ground on ZD. ZD just making an error coming into the chicanes there, the final chicanes, coming in through the start-finish.
Yeah, racing for this long opens up the door for mental fatigue to start settling in.
Most definitely. It's a long race, 299.7 kilometres around this track, 22 laps, almost 4 minutes a lap. You know, it's a long time to concentrate. And with such long straights, it's easy to lose focus and lose your braking marker coming into the corner.
Yeah, well, as we are 2/3 into the race here, I think it might be time for a bit of an intermission. What do you reckon, Rex?
I am up for it. I believe that you've got something new for us.
I do have something special to trial for everyone here. It's a bit of a tester for season 7 if it all goes well. Just to give you a bit of context on how the segment came about before we get into it. It's all about helping those that are less fortunate. So people come to me and ask for my assistance in finding a mating partner. So it's just all about giving back to the community that helps me. So without any further ado, we'll roll the intro now.
Here we go.
Alright, yes, welcome to my new segment, Footner's Fornication Festivities, with your host, Footner. This show's been taking off all over the globe, and now we're bringing it to Wheel to Wheel. For our first instalment, our contestant is going to be the one and only Squidly. So let's welcome Squidly out to the stage, please, and thank you, Herbs.
Here he comes.
So Squid contacted me earlier in the week, and he said, "Footner, you handsome, sexy man, I desperately need your assistance, and who am I to turn down a challenge?" So Squidly here is a 19-year-old she-male from the Gold Coast. Some say his left tit is smaller than his right tit, but don't let that stop you from having the best 13 seconds of your life. Although he's only known to get erect when there's chocolate milk involved, I'm confident if you give him a chance and you can look past the fact that his pubes are in the shape of Bathurst, you and Squid could be a great match. So if you think you fit the bill and you can be Squid's mating partner for the season, get in contact with him on Discord, send in a resume, and you can be the first official Will-to-Will couple. That's been the first instalment of Footner's Fornication Festivities. Thank you for joining me.
That is outstanding. Love it. And I really do hope it's a success. Squidly, I wish you the best. I hope you find some love, mate. Or at least somebody to spoon for a while.
That's what we're all about. Just helping those that are less fortunate.
Hey, Footner, bringing the love back to Wheel to Wheel.
We've already got a candidate. Adam V10's put his hand up.
Oh, nice. Well, look, I really do hope that we get a few guys putting their hand up for it through Season 7. I think that's awesome. As we see Intrinsic just run a little bit wide there. I don't know if he's going to pick up a penalty.
Oh, yeah, there's a race going on.
Yeah, I forgot about that. As we see Super Dragon coming to the pits.
Yeah, everyone will be due in now. This next stint's going to be the decider for everyone here. Do they break it up into 4 and 2 or 3 and 3? We'll probably get a bit of a hint based on the fuel loads they take on.
Yeah, let's see what they do. So, Footner, you're like the Greg Evans of Wheel to Wheel. Back when he was doing Perfect Match. I don't know if he's too young for that, but...
I am, but I got the context, so...
So Tombo, he's inherited the lead and gone purple with a 3:56.567. So Tombo's found some pace and found himself in the lead again.
I think ZD's got the stream audio on. He's jumped in and told everyone to back off of Squid. I think he contacted me because he's moving away too far from you, ZD. He wants to find someone closer, I think.
Yeah, and it's just too far to drive to Canberra.
That being said, I'll be in Canberra at the end of the month, so maybe I'll have a crack at Squidly myself.
Oh, nice.
I'll have to bring some chocolate milk with me.
Yes. So
I hope
Tombo,
everyone
back
enjoyed
in
that. If it went well, let me know, and I'll do 12 more for the next season.
Yeah, I'm very interested. Let's to see what the comments are in.
So I guess we should get back to the race here. Everyone's come out of the pits now. Tombo holding a 3-second lead. He does have 1 lap of fuel left in his tank, so he will be pitting twice for the remainder of this race. Super Dragon looks like he's fueled up for a 3-lap stint. Intrinsic, possibly only a 2 actually, unless he's going to do some heavy fuel saving. So we may see Intrinsic and Super Dragon split their strategies here, which is going to be a very exciting finish to the race. They've been glued together for most of the race. I think they're trying to work together now to get onto the back of Tombo.
Yeah, and Vintage and ZD seem to be working together as well, so Vintage just giving ZD a bit of a bump along.
Well, Intrinsic not getting the best run out of that
as we see ZD
chicane.
just get a little bit of understeer coming into the approach to that chicane.
ZD cracking under pressure here, is he? I won't put the commentator's curse on him. I'm a nicer person than that.
No, but if he's commentating your race, you can guarantee he'll be doing it to you.
I think he is commentating my race. Yeah.
ZD does love the banter, especially when it comes to New Footner.
ZD will be commentating my race with Viking Racer and Fine Moves. Special shout out goes out to Fine Moves for putting the visuals together for my segment. The man is talented. ZD's typing while on the straight. Focus on the race, ZD.
Yeah. If you run off the track, ZD, I'll be pissed. But yeah, look, a big shout out to Fine Moves. Without him, we wouldn't have Wheel to Wheel. You know, he puts in so much time. Even with a new family that he's got, he still manages to get shit done, which I just don't know how he does it. So massive thanks to Fine Moves and to everybody else who, you know, does the behind the scenes stuff throughout the year. Dale Teeks also has been doing a lot of behind the scenes work for Wheel to Wheel this season, so big thanks to him as well, and to all our commentators, to Dodgy for a lot of the work that he did through qualifying this week, and all the other guys that jumped in for qualifying, and to anybody who jumped in and did some commentary throughout the season. It's not the easiest jumping on and sitting here and talking for an hour and a half, but no, you boys have been doing a great job, and I've enjoyed listening to it over the last couple of weeks that I haven't commentated, but it's definitely nice to be back tonight.
It's easy to do it when you're in good company.
This is true.
And when the racing's this good, the story writes itself. You don't have to fill any gaps. I always struggled to squeeze that segment in. So Tombo dives into the pits for his second to last stop. 3% of fuel. So he's got a 3 and a 2 left, I say. I don't think he'll be able to push for the 5. Super Dragon takes the lead. He's got a 2.8 second advantage over Intrinsic. So Intrinsic doing something wrong on that lap.
Yeah, he's lost a lot of time.
Yeah,
Vintage still behind ZD.
ZD's still battling third with Vintage.
So Super Dragon looking quite comfortable at the moment, and he's probably a candidate for the win at the moment. I don't think Tombo's going to be able to take it out, having an extra pit stop or an extra couple of pit stops on these guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he'd planned that in that way or what happened there, but just inside 2 pit stops is too much to catch up on. Not to mention, he did have that little mistake that we missed, losing 3 to 4 seconds in the mid sectors on one lap, which wouldn't have helped. But other than that, he's run pretty much flawless laps. So he's done the best that he can do with his strategy, certainly.
So
I actually bested his fastest lap last lap as well. On lap 16, he got it down to a 56.5.
Yeah, so Tombo, he'll continue to push. He's not going to give up. Tombo and Ziti working hard together, so they've both just gone purple sectors through that last sector, trying their hardest to catch up to Intrinsic. Intrinsic driving by himself at the moment, so without the use of slip, Ziti and Vintage may have an opportunity to catch him.
He is closing on Dragon, though.
But as we've seen, Intrinsic has shown plenty of pace through the last section of that track, through those really windy sections. The Super is looking really comfortable.
Yeah, I'm still hopeful for a very tight last lap finish. Intrinsic finding a lot more time on Super Dragon through that final chicane, making up nearly 4 tenths.
And Super Dragon, he's looks like he's still fuel saving. He's not trying to push too hard.
I think Intrinsic will be pitting this lap.
Why not? Why not pit? Fill yourself up. No more stops after that.
So it looks like he's going to do the 2 and 4.
If I was Intrinsic, Super Dragon, I'd be doing the same.
Yeah, trying to keep the track position advantage.
I've got the fuel. You only got to put in a lap and a half, 2 laps of fuel, and you're away. Intrinsic's got to put in a lot more than that, probably an extra lap at least. As we see Intrinsic go purple.
The thing for Super Dragon is he has no idea what Intrinsic's fuel load is, probably.
No, this is true. So, yeah, interesting to see what happens. But, if I was lap 18 and had half a tank of fuel, I'd be like, let's just pit.
Intrinsic's made up over a second from the second chicane to before the Porsche curves, though.
Yeah, he's been looking really good. The Supra through this section is just so much better than what the Aston is.
As he finds another 2 tenths, another 10th, and he's purple
and goes
by
purple
4
again.
tenths now. Intrinsic pushing hard. He's now in the slip, 7 tenths. Just don't
he's
go
not
too wide there.
He's not going to get an opportunity to go fastest. Oh, he's going to pick up a penalty there.
Nah, it's not too wide, I don't think. I think he managed to save that.
Oh, he's so lucky. So, into the pits he goes. Super Dragon stays out.
Yeah, he's not going to get that purple lap, though, but...
Vintage stays out.
Ziti
stays out. So, Vintage got past Ziti.
Well, Ziti did tell Exo Flossie that he was going to stop concentrating, so...
Come on, Ziti. Focus. And let's go, Vintage. You're in second position now, mate. You've had a lonely race. But you may find yourself in a podium here, so keep pushing. So Super Dragon now with a 5-second lead over Vintage. Let's see where Intrinsic comes out. He's spending a long time in the pits, Intrinsic.
Yeah, he's brimmed the tank to 100, so I think he's going to be going flat out for 4 laps now.
Yeah.
Yeah, lap 20, 19, 20, 21 and 22 to go. So he will be banging that Supra off the limiter.
So Tombo, he's going to need to make one more stop as we see him go purple through this first section. So he's tucked in behind Spence. He's probably going to make a move here on Spence.
Yeah, we'll see Dragon, ZD, Vintage, Jonesy, not Spence, but we will see Tombo in this lap for another pit stop. So Intrinsic's the only one at the moment that's fueled up till the end. And he's 27 seconds off the lead in 7th place. He's got clear track. If he can have a great outlap on fresh tyres and make up a lot of time. Oh, I'm excited to see how this race finishes.
Yeah, look, I think you're going to see Intrinsic slot back into at least second position, maybe even first. But ZD and Vintage are closing the gap between Super Dragon. It's already come down by a second. So it's now 4.8 seconds.
I'm not sure if it's the Aston or if it's Super Dragon driving, but I think he may be fuel saving.
He's definitely fuel saving. He's been
on
short
the
shifting.
straights. Yeah, on the straights he wasn't getting any. Was losing a lot of time to people behind him, as we see now, basically with ZD and Vintage closing up. It is 4.7 seconds with 3.5 laps to go, though, so that's a big ask. Especially because ZD has less fuel and Vintage has less fuel than Super Dragon, so there's a bit of time to make up in the pits for Dragon too.
Yeah, so ZD and Vintage are going to come into the pits this lap. You'd think Super Dragon's also going to come in, so the top three are definitely going to come in.
Yeah, top four will. Four of the top five will.
So
No,
Tombo,
all of them will.
Tombo's gone purple again. He's 14 seconds behind Super Dragon. So, you know, Tombo, he's going to have to pit. He'll have to pit this lap. So I think Tombo's out of it, which is unfortunate because he's had a stellar drive.
He has. He definitely has. He has definitely shown us that he is very competitive and possibly definitely the fastest cripple in Australia.
Oh, 100%. He is. And we'll see him up in Div 2, Div 1 next season, most definitely.
Yeah, he's quite
He's
regular.
very consistent. If it wasn't for his HSC, he would have been up there already, but due to HSC commitments, he wasn't able to do half the season.
Yeah, I know what that's like. I had to take the entire season off, basically, the first 10 rounds, to focus on university studies. Things in life come before sim racing, unfortunately, for some people.
I don't understand why people just don't put everything aside and just focus on sim racing only.
I mean, it's not a bad strat. It could work for you if you get through. So we got Super Dragon here. He's going to pull off to the right into that pit lane. His fuel tank's flashing at him. ZD and Vintage will do the same. So ZD got back around Vintage at some point. I personally missed that.
So let's jump on board with Intrinsic and let's see where he comes out. I've got a sneaking suspicion that he may find himself in first position.
He made
or
up
at the very
6
least chomping at the bit of Super Dragon.
He made up 6 seconds on that lap.
Four-way battle to the end. With the likes of Super Dragon, Vintage, ZD, Intrinsic.
So Intrinsic coming through the final set of chicanes now. Super Dragon still fueling. Super Dragon gets released. Intrinsic coming around.
Is out. So Super Dragon out. Intrinsic in second. Vintage in third with ZD right up his clacker. So Super Dragon with a 2-second lead over Intrinsic. And a 2.5 second lead over Vintage and ZD.
Yeah, same fuel load, so they're both going to be banging their cars off the limiter here. Intrinsic, last time he was 2.8 seconds down. It only took him half a lap to catch that back up, but I believe Super Dragon was fuel saving. Super Dragon appears to have taken on enough fuel now to not need to fuel save, so he's going to be revving that Aston out, trying to keep that 2-second gap to Intrinsic and not giving him any little bit of slip. Super Dragon needs to be consistent and nail his braking markers and apexes from now on, because as soon as he gives Intrinsic a whiff of that slipstream...
So ZD makes a move on Vintage. Vintage tucks immediately behind ZD. So those two are continuing to work together to try to chase down Intrinsic. So ZD and Vintage really need to drive flawless laps to close that 2.6 second lead over Intrinsic. And then we got Jonesy in fifth with a 3 second... Oh, he's also picked up a 1.5 second penalty.
Oh, no.
Has Jonesy, so that's really unlucky, but, you know, he's been looking good.
So Tombo's out of the pits as well, 14 seconds off the lead, 1.2 seconds off Spence. So Tombo possibly going to be able to take 6th here. We know he's got the speed over pretty much everyone on the track. Tombo flying in this session.
So with 2.5 laps to go, now is not the time where you want to pick up, 1 to 2 second penalty. It's just going to kill your race.
Definitely. That's going to be more important for the top two, Super Dragon and Intrinsic now. Intrinsic needs to keep putting pressure on Super Dragon to try and make a mistake, and Super Dragon needs to keep resisting that pressure and just drive consistently. Intrinsic's found a 10th, but it's half a lap. If he keeps doing that, he's only going to find 6/10 until the end of the race. So Intrinsic got to pull something out of his arse here.
Yeah, look, this is the section of the track, or coming up to the section of the track where Intrinsic's really strong. So he may be able to make a bit of ground on Super Dragon through here. So as we see him come through Indianapolis curve, Intrinsic gets it turned in nicely, and he's already made almost half a second on Super Dragon there, and gone purple.
The race is not over yet, everyone.
No, so, you know, Super Dragon would have noticed that, and this is where the pressure starts to mount. 2 laps to go. He's been leading on and off throughout most of the race, so he'll be doing his damnedest to not make a mistake through here, but he also knows that Intrinsic is faster than him through this section. As we see Intrinsic make a bit of an error on the entrance to the Porsche S's.
Only cost him a 10th, luckily.
Did he pick up a penalty?
So Super Dragon opens up another couple of tenths. 2 laps to go. He's going to hold a 1.8 second lead crossing the start-finish line. DD and Vintage still locked in a battle. 2.5 seconds off Intrinsic, 4.4 off the lead. ZD with the track position advantage over Vintage. They both have very similar fuel, very similar tyre. So at one point they're going to abandon working together to catch up to second, and they're going to get locked into their own battle. Down the back of the field as well, Nightwalker, he's at a sec, still punting around the track. 1 minute 30 off the lead, 9 off Smooth Blanket. Not having the most ideal of races, both Nightwalker and Smooth Blanket, unfortunately.
Very lonely race there. G-Man sitting back in 9th, so he hasn't been able to do much from starting in last either.
Yeah, well, that's the first time
like
I've seen G-Man not locked in a battle with Ripdog. G-Man's had a friend for 20 laps, and now that we check on him, he's 3 seconds clear of Ripdog. So maybe a mistake from Ripdog, maybe just some pit stop fuel-saving time there for G-Man. Pan Mac also running a lonely race in 8th. 11 seconds behind and 24 seconds in front.
So ZD's opened up a 1.1 second gap over Vintage Racer.
That's going to help ZD keep that 3rd position, definitely.
I don't know if Vintage made a mistake or picked up a penalty, or if ZD's just started to stretch the legs a bit.
Tombo with a 2.5 second penalty.
Unlucky Tombo.
2.5 from Tombo, as he's 2.5 seconds away from Spence now as well. Poor old Tombo had great speed all day, but the race just hasn't worked out for him. It's unlucky to see that.
So the gap between Super Dragon and Intrinsic remains pretty much the same as we see Super Dragon go purple through the 3rd sector.
And Intrinsic's making up time on him, so he must be purple too. ZD's narrowed the gap from 2.5 to 2.1 on Intrinsic. I'm not sure ZD's going to have enough laps left to actually challenge for 2nd, but he does need to push hard to keep 3rd.
As we see him
not
just
so much.
Get a little bit taily there, but he's gone purple, so he's a second up.
Vintage 3.5 seconds off ZD now, so ZD comfortable 3rd.
So ZD's a second up on the fastest lap at the moment.
Wow, 1 second.
A whole second.
On for a 3:55.5, that's insane.
So let's see where Super Dragon is at the moment. So Super Dragon's opened that lead up a fraction, so Intrinsic just didn't probably get the drive.
As Intrinsic narrows that lead right back to... He always takes half a second through Indianapolis. He's also quite strong through this right-hander here, as he makes another 10th. Not getting the best of exits.
But ZD's made up a lot of ground on him.
He has.
So ZD's brought back half a second, maybe 3/4 of a second.
Let's jump on board with ZD for the Porsche curves here. He seems to be in a rhythm, so I think we're going to see some Apexes getting murdered here. It's a bad day to be an Apex.
He's still up almost by a second.
Still 1 second,
So
and he's
Ziti
driving.
on fire at the moment.
Yeah, and he's nailing the Porsche curves here. He's got to be careful around this one.
Yeah, it's such a tough
Doesn't
corner.
run
It's so
too
easy
wide.
to pick
He's
up a
done
penalty.
well.
That's nice there. Come on,
And
Ziti.
Intrinsic actually extending the gap on ZD and reducing it to Super Dragon through
Yeah,
there
so
as
let's
well.
see who gets the fastest lap here, because they've all been purple. So Super Dragon is not fastest. Intrinsic not fastest. Vintage, Ziti, a 56.2. So Ziti, well done, fastest lap. So at the moment he's got bragging rights. But let's see if he can push out another fast lap to try to close that gap, which is actually opened back up to 2 seconds on Intrinsic.
Yeah, Super Dragon leads the field for the last race, holding a 2-second advantage over Intrinsic. Intrinsic holds a 1.6 second advantage over ZD, so the top three split by less than 3.6 seconds. No one's got any slip. It's going to come down to who doesn't make a mistake.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, the way it stands at the moment, this is how they should finish, as long as no one picks up a penalty or makes a mistake.
So ZD starting 8th and moving up to 3rd, although it's not an official 3rd yet, it could go higher than that.
Yeah, look, anything's
Intrinsic
possible.
starting 2nd, I believe, and keeping 2nd. Yes, that's correct. And Super Dragon starting 1st and holding 1st. So although it's such a long race and qualifying probably isn't as important if you can get through the first couple laps cleanly, it is definitely a good indication of the people's pace. And it allows you to miss out on any carnage in the first couple of laps if you're trying to come through where two cars have made contact.
So Vintage Racer needs to be careful here. Jonesy's making plenty of headway in this last lap. Vintage has dropped right off the back of ZD and has Jonesy closing in on him.
Yeah, 1.7 seconds in just over half a lap is going to be a hard ask though.
And ZD's taken almost a second off Intrinsic, so he's now down to 1.1. Oh, and Super Dragon's picked up a half-second penalty.
Oh no, he's going to have to serve that at a very friendly spot.
So he's got a 1.7 second lead over the field at the moment, but he has to burn it.
He has the
down
luxury.
to 0.4.
Well, he has the luxury on the last lap. He can just munch the brake pedal before the start-finish line.
And ZD now.
Oh, Spence
Almost
goes
within-
fastest lap last one as well. Spence with the
Oh, well done,
56.1.
Spence.
Man, this lobby's got some pace in it. This has been great racing.
Yeah, they've
Intrinsic.
really had a good drive tonight, all of these guys.
Indeed, keeping it clean for 90 minutes. Brilliant to watch. Intrinsic 1.5 seconds down as he comes into the section where he normally makes up half a second. Makes up 4/10 this time. 1.1 seconds separates the top two. 2.3 seconds separates the top three. ZD 1.3 behind Intrinsic. Intrinsic 1 behind Super Dragon. This is shaping up to be a cracking finish.
And
Everyone's
Super
fuel
Dragon
gauge is
needs to
up.
burn this penalty too.
Oh, this is insane racing. I'm
He's got-
enjoying this.
0.4 of a second to burn. So that is, you know, gives Intrinsic plenty of opportunity to catch him.
Super Dragon not putting a foot wrong through the Porsche curves though, holding a lot of speed and increasing that gap on Intrinsic. I think he's just going to do enough to keep the top step of the podium. He just has to be smart about burning this penalty.
So let's see
DD
what
suffering
happens
a bit
here.
through there as well, losing a second through the Porsche curves.
Is he going to burn it after he comes through the chicane here?
I think he'll burn it at the finish line. He pulls off, he'll dab the brake, ghost out. There we go.
Oh.
Super Dragon is your race winner, followed by Intrinsic, followed by ZD, separated by 4.1 seconds. Vintage Racer will take out 4th, Jonesy 5th, Spence is going to take 6th, and Tombo with that amazing pace he's shown. Tombo goes fastest at the end, 56.1 on the last lap, taking that from Spence, who also had a 56.1.
Yeah, well done, Tombo. You drove a great race tonight, mate, and your strategy just let you down a fraction.
Yeah, a couple seconds down the road, we got Pan Max serving a penalty. He's going to take 8th position.
Got G-Man in 9th.
Yeah, Ripdoc's not going to be close enough to challenge that 9th, so he will take 10th. Smooth Blanket will round out 11th, and Nightwalker will be 12th. I can't see those positions changing.
No, and Nightwalker's got a half-second penalty to burn
I
as well.
just noticed as well, I think we missed Con for this race. I didn't see Con at the start. I'm not sure if he was here and dropped out or if he didn't show up at all.
Yeah, I just realised that. It's only 12, not 13.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
just saw 12 and checked the lobbies.
But, congratulations. Well done, Super Dragon. You drove a great race tonight. Intrinsic, you also drove very well. And Zedi, I don't know how you bloody text and drive, mate, but if you didn't text, you might have finished second. and Vintage, well done for 4th, mate. You've got to be happy with that. So well done to all these guys, but especially to the top 3.
Indeed.
And that's it. Div 2 done and dusted for Season 6. So congratulations to all. Again, thank you very much to our sponsor, Races World. We couldn't do it without you. And we also couldn't do it with all the help from the guys behind the scenes. But again, congratulations to Super Dragon. Great drive and well done.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear going into this round that it was going to be boring racing because of the dynamics of the track, but I'll be honest, that was probably one of the most exciting races of the season that I've seen. I love that. That was a pleasure to commentate. Happy to have Rex here with me and Herbs on visuals. Thank you everyone for tuning in on YouTube, Twitch, whatever platforms we ended up on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Footner. It's been a very entertaining evening of racing. It's nice to be back in the commentary seat after a couple of weeks out, and look forward to Premier Division race next weekend. So don't forget to tune into that, as well as the other races tonight. So
Indeed, we do have a race at 7:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time coming up tonight. That
so
will be,
basically half an hour's time.
Yeah, so that will be Division 4.
Yeah, so that should be a good race. Shout out to Macca in the Team Vintage BMW. Hope you have a nice race, mate. You've been showing plenty of pace.
Yeah, I'll be watching out for Figo in Div 4. Figo's showing great pace in that Peugeot all season.
Yeah, look, Figo's new to Wheel to Wheel, and you'll definitely, I think, see him up in Div 2 for Season 7.
Yeah, I agree. And everyone watching that's not familiar with Wheel to Wheel, we will be doing. This is a split round. We'll be running next week as well. So 5:30 and 7:30 next week we'll have races as well. So tune in for those before we have a short break before an exhibition series.
So that's it from us tonight. So thank you very much, gentlemen. Herbal, thanks for doing the visuals again.
Pleasure.
And for all those out there, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you want to subscribe, and for those watching Wheel to Wheel and wanting to get involved, head to our Facebook page, which is Wheel to Wheel Racing League, and you can click the sign up button, which will take you to Discord. So that's it, gents. Race 6, Div 2, season done. That's it.
We'll sign out and we'll see you guys soon.
See you, boys.